Notre Dame revealed some horrible news on Monday when it was announced that All-American cornerback Benjamin Morrison was going to be lost for the remainder of the 2024 season with a hip injury. Now the question must be asked, what's next for Benjamin Morrison? To return or to go pro? Let's talk about it here. Ryan Roberts with A to Z Sports. Let's talk about Benjamin Morrison and the impending decision that will happen probably down the stretch of the season here. A projected first-round selection in the 2025 NFL Draft by a various amount of media platforms. Many people on the NFL side have a high liking to Benjamin Morrison, who has been a star defensive back for Notre Dame now for several years. 9 career interceptions, 18 pass breakups, freshman All-American, true All-American as a sophomore in 2023. Most believed. One great junior season, and then you're off into the sunlight to the NFL as a first-round NFL draft pick. After having several conversations with various sources in the NFL scouting industry, I think that the decision is a little bit more intense and not quite as cut and dry as maybe a lot of people are initially going to have it here. Speaking to one scout in particular, his quotes, and I have this on a piece at A to Z Sports about Benjamin Morrison and a little bit of the mixed reviews from the NFL draft perspective, from the NFL's perspective. That quote read, "It depends on the severity, but it's not a good injury for a guy who already wasn't very explosive. He's also a guy the general public and media has been higher on than the actual NFL. We have a 3rd to 4th round grade on him. Media has him as a top 3 cornerback in the class, and he was never that. I'd say the league is mostly around a 3rd, so not too far off, but projection-wise, we see him as just a solid 3rd cornerback on a roster, so really a 4th round grade." Now, that is one, I don't want to call it hyperbolic, but that is one to the lower end of what people really view with Benjamin Morrison. I have talked to several other people. There are at least 2 sources I can say of teams that do have legitimate first-round grades on Benjamin Morrison, which is great. I spoke to the majority that are somewhere in the day 2 range. So day 2 for the NFL draft, for people that don't follow, that is 2nd and 3rd round, and then day 3 would be rounds 4 through 7. So there's a lot of 2nd, 3rd round grades out there. Obviously, the quote that I spoke about is more in the late day 2, early day 3 range, in the 3rd through 4th. Now, that's a wide range of opinions. We're talking about anywhere from a 1st to a 4th round grade. That is a wide chasm of opinions on a football player. So I do think that there is a deep conversation that needs to happen between Benjamin Morrison, his prospective agent, and his family, obviously, and coaches involved in that conversation as well, about what is the best long-term strategy. Because the problem that you're dealing with Benjamin Morrison is he has had 2 relatively serious injuries in a very short amount of time. Now, obviously, dealing with the hip injury, but also was dealing with an off-season shoulder injury that required surgery as well. So you're talking about 2 legitimate injuries that the NFL is going to inquire about, and that could potentially hurt your stock. How much? No idea. Not a doctor. Don't do the final medicals. I don't know how much it's going to knock him, obviously. And I have no idea where the Morrison family and Benjamin is going to go from here. All I can say is that this is a conversation that needs to happen, though. I think if he had a fully healthy season, he would have gone off, tested the NFL waters, and probably would have been a very high draft pick. But now with the injuries behind his evaluation, I do think that this is a more intriguing conversation. In all honesty, based upon some of the feedback, this may have been a conversation that was going to happen regardless about whether he was going to declare as a true junior this year. But either way, this injury does make things a little bit murkier. All positive thoughts are thrown obviously to the Morrison family as they try to navigate this very interesting landscape of the NFL draft, hoping for the best, hoping for a speedy recovery, and interested to see what that final decision is when everything is settled. Folks, you know the deal. Going to get you ready now for the rest of the week and obviously talk about Georgia Tech. But as always, every single video ends with the same way, and you know how it goes. Go Irish.